Yeah, likewise. I love hanging out talking sponsorship, and I love talking to Kevin in particular. Kevin, where in the world are you right now?
I am in the barbecue capital of the world, otherwise known as Memphis, Tennessee.
All right. I appreciate that. I respect that. Where is everybody else from? Could you drop in the chat where in the world you are hailing from where you are hailing? I'm not sure what the grammatically correct version of that question is. Where
Oh,
where
we have a badger.
where you at?
Woo!
Vancouver. Now, do we have a Vancouver, Canada, or do we have a Vancouver, America, which seems preposterous to me? Thank you, Hamza. The correct Vancouver.
Yeah.
So, Shabab,
New
where's
Zealand, Chris.
Shabab, where are the farthest and where are the closest that you're seeing come up? Philadelphia, amazing. Tell us, Shabab, read some of these amazing places. India. Does
India, I love that now.
I think New
For
Zealand's
me,
farther? Yeah.
um,
Tell us. What are
uh,
you seeing? Where are these people from? Read the chat.
yeah, we got people from Wisconsin, we got Glen Falls, we got
Woo.
South Carolina, El Paso,
Hawaii,
Texas, Lake
Canada. I've
George,
heard of that.
yeah, Canada, Auckland, New Zealand. We
Woo.
have Hawaii, we have Auburn, we have people from England.
Amazing. All right.
Amazing.
Did you see how well we have multiple Vancouverites? So what you just heard is the great Shabab. He is your voice. He's the Wizard of Oz. He is the man behind the curtain for the rest of this session. He is your voice. Whenever you have a question, just drop it in the chat, and he is on question patrol. He's going to gather them up, and he's going to ask us the most common ones or the best ones. They may not be the same thing. But I will say, just because you saw somebody ask the question that's on your mind, don't not ask it. Or maybe a clearer way to say it is ask it again anyway, so that Shabab can know what the hot topics are and can make sure that it ends up in front of mine and Kevin's eyes. Super important disclaimer. If Kevin and I disagree at any point on anything, defer to Kevin.
Yeah.
Defer to Kevin. Kevin is right. When it comes to sponsorship, all other things you are
Very
taking
much in question there. Yeah.
very much in question. Yes. Do not go to Kevin for anything other than sponsorship advice. But if he and I disagree, Kevin is right. The secret's out. I go to him for sponsorship advice too. So we should all listen to Kevin. Why are we meeting today? This is going to be kind of fireside chat. There's not going to be a ton of crazy technical stuff. You let us know what templates you need, what resources you need. If you're current clients of ours, you just post it in the chat group, and we'll point you to the exact resources we're referring today. If you're future clients or potential clients of ours, no problem. Get in touch with us by email, and we'll share with you any of the templates that we refer to here today. But why are we here today, Kevin? Why did we decide that we were going to subject these poor people to our shenanigans?
Well, it's the fourth quarter of
Yep.
the year.
Yes.
People start to feel that pressure.
Yep.
And I think it's always a good time to help everyone kind of reset their mindset.
That's so good. I held the belief when I was selling sponsorship full time that I would make my entire calendar year in October, November, December. My entire next year was made in October, November, December. Now that's not factually true, but that was the mindset that I needed and that I used to take full advantage of this particular period in the year. So Kevin, your results may be slightly different, but definitely from my experience, it's decent sized sponsorship, which is a totally subjective term based on your property, your geography,
Mhm.
all that
Mhm.
stuff. But if I was looking for the 50K and up sponsorship, and I was in a city of 1 million, so you can use that to level set. It's proposals that go in right now that turn into those 50, 100,000 multi-year sponsorship deals. Because once budgets are decided, then you're going back and trying to get the unallocated marketing budget Then you're trying to go back and get the uh, if something fell through, right? If festival got canceled, and
Mhm.
hoping they'll
Yep.
send it your way. Kevin, what is the biggest deal you've gotten? The biggest deal you've gotten, like after budgets close, that you did not get in front of people.
Oh, after. Oh,
Like you're
that's a
going in
good.
for the scraps, and you're shocked at the sponsorship deal.
I mean, anytime you could get 20, 25K plus, you've done a really good job if
Very good
budget's
job.
already set.
Yeah.
I will just say, Chris, just this week alone, and we're only just halfway through Thursday,
Yeah.
I've already issued 4 contracts for over $200,000 total.
Yeah.
Today, in about 2 hours, I probably did 50 outreach messages and have probably 10 responses of people wanting to either chat or at least we're getting ready for the budget process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are spot on when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Your response rate can be very high this time of year, if you can be ahead of that curve.
Yeah.
Even if not every company has the same budget cycle, but
Yeah.
there is something about the beginning of the calendar year to when right now they're seriously looking
Yeah.
at
That's
their
so.
budgets and the planning of it. So
You know how rude it is to meet someone new and not offer to shake their hand? I have committed the equivalent in a workshop. We did introduce ourselves. It was 100% my fault. But what a great lead-in. Because Kevin just shared some of his successes. So it is true that Kevin is one of the coaches and consultants here at the Sponsorship Collective, which he does, I think, honestly, because he knows I need his help. Because he has a very busy day job and a bunch of kids and all kinds of. Do you teach still outside of all the things you're doing?
I'm involved in a bunch of fun projects.
Yeah.
My day-to-day job is right in the trenches doing sponsorships, probably like many of you. I'm the executive vice president at Memphis in May International Festival. We produce music event, a running race, and a barbecue contest. This is my 18th year, going on year 19. And during my tenure here, we've probably generated well in excess of $30 million in sponsorship revenues,
Crazy.
for just a 1 month festival. So
Yeah.
feel very blessed to have survived this long and thriving. And I just enjoy also being with Chris and part of the collective.
Heck yeah. Likewise. I'm Chris Bayless, and depending if you're watching our content, depending what content you're watching, I have various levels of hair on my head and various levels of gray in my beard, but this unfortunately is what I look like today. I run the Sponsorship Collective, and I get to geek out about sponsorship with cool people like Kevin. And we recently moved into a new office in Toronto where the people who moved out before us left all these cool mugs with other people's faces on them. So every day I get a new mug with a stranger on it, and I love it. So back to the real reason for this conversation, for this call, is that Kevin is in the trenches. Kevin's selling sponsorship every day. Well, at least he's hoping to sell sponsorship every day. And 25K after you let the fiscal year close, the calendar year close, really, 25K is a great deal. I'm curious, Kevin, what's the biggest sponsorship deal you've closed in the negotiating pre-budgets close, pre-calendar year closing?
It was a 3-year, $200,000 a year deal. So
Really? 600K contract
600
value.
total. Yeah.
25K, 600K. Guess how much effort each one of those takes? Pretty much the exact same. Right. So this is why I like to think of this time of year as I usually say a 5-to-1 ROI on your time. It's just way more important to put in the time now than any other time of year. Unless you're Kevin, then it's like a 20 to 1 ROI. So this is the time to be in front of sponsors. It's very normal, whether you're working with us or you're thinking of working with us. It doesn't matter. We cannot cure this. It is a reality of being in our world as sponsorship sales peeps. You're not going to feel ready right now, but you got to do it anyway. That's basically the take home. And so if you accept that as the main premise, you don't have to stay for the rest of this workshop. But that's what that's what I really want to talk about today. Is how do you do this before you're ready? And so I'm going to just ask Kevin some questions. He's going to tell you the real answers, and then I'm going to tag on trivial insights to make it sound like I'm as smart as Kevin, and that's how we're gonna roll. So I invite you all to please drop your questions in the chat, unless your question is this recorded? So, Kevin,
Yes, sir.
we've covered why this time of year is so important, right? It's ultimately people are planning their budgets for next year. I'm curious, and team, we have a hard stop 10 minutes before the hour because Kevin is going to go run a coaching call all about sponsorship sales. So we've dominated his afternoon. So I'm curious, Kevin, from your perspective, what are the most valuable activities that people should be doing right now? Like the thing that they should fill their day with if they could.
Yep. Prospecting, doing outreach, try to get appointments now. Like I said, I spent 2 hours and I made sure 50 people that I did within 2 hours. So obviously I'm customizing, but there's a pretty standard message that is a part of it. I'm just trying to get a response.
Any response
right now. Any response. If they're not interested, great. I'll move on. I know not to focus my time on them. If somebody says, yes, I would love to visit, man, I'm going and we're booking. And I probably booked 4 or 5 calls for next week already just this morning. And then you also want to find out who might have interest, even if the time isn't quite right. Maybe they're in planning, whatever the case. Like I took, and I'm kind of old. I probably, like I said, I had easily 10 to 12 people who I heard back from in a favorable way that I did not have as a sponsor last year. These are all new people.
So I'm curious, how does that compare to response rates in July?
Oh, not even close. It's like crickets. And that's why you have to, and no matter the time of year, I think these things kind of go in waves anyway.
Yeah.
And so when the wave is ride it high and you need to cash in when you can, you need to take advantage at that time. I often into the month of November, December, try to take a good bit of time off around Thanksgiving and Christmas. But I will tell you, I'm still monitoring my email. I will take a phone call. I will schedule a phone call. And it's amazing to me how many deals either I get done or get set up to be done during those time periods.
So often we hear from our clients, they're like, hey, it's the holiday season, like December 24th to Jan 3rd. Am I okay to take prospecting off? And Kevin and Chris Norwood are like, no, my goodness, no, is the most I mean, take time off. You should have balance. Yep. But that's a very expensive week to take off the prospecting game.
Yeah, spend time with family, but monitor, right? Just at least keep your pulse on it. Yeah. Somebody in one of our coaching calls, Chris, asked me one time, what day or time period is the best to prospect?
Yes.
And my
answer is yes.
Then my answer was Monday through Friday, sunrise to sunset.
Yeah. Plus weekends.
And I'm not talking about a sunrise to sunset in Alaska in the wintertime either. You need to do it. Prospecting to me is so psychological, Chris.
Yeah.
You can talk yourself out of it so easy. You can talk yourself out of, I'm not ready, or
Yeah.
this isn't a good time.
Uh-huh.
And the mind is a powerful thing.
Uh-huh.
And
Cold calls suck.
it's the hardest part
I
of
hate
the
them. Yeah.
sponsorship process is the prospecting
Yeah.
side of it. Okay. It is by far the hardest and the most time consuming.
Yeah.
But if you're going to try to harvest, you've got to plant the seeds.
Yeah.
There's no other way around it. Now, there might be different ways to help plant those seeds,
Yeah.
but you have to put in the time and the effort.
This is so true. One of the things that I often remind myself, to everybody on this part of this conversation, if it's hard for you, it's probably hard for everyone. So then I start to think of it as my moat. If I'm willing to pick up the call and just get over that imposter syndrome, that fear of the cold call, whatever the thing is, we all feel it. If you're willing to get over it and your competitors are not, that actually is a competitive advantage, right? It's like your pain line is just a little bit higher than the rest. And notice I didn't say if you can make it go away. It sucks. It's always going to suck. I'm sorry. It does. But if you do it anyway, if you feel the fear and do it anyway, the rewards can be significant. It's true in all of life, but it's especially true in prospecting and sales. So Kevin says the most important thing you could be doing right now is doing outreach and having conversations with people. Kevin, what if you don't have a sponsorship package?
Oh, I wouldn't worry about that at all.
Do it anyway.
That should be the least of your concerns. You will figure it out. I always say the water's fine. You have to dive in. It is like a workout.
Yeah.
You train your muscles. The first time you work out, you're going to be stiff. You're going to be sore, right? And it's not going to be easy to go repeat it the next day. But if you force yourself, you, with repetitions, will get much better at it, much more at ease. The other thing that I always try to advise our members on, Chris, is keep this in mind. Whatever your property is, whether it's a nonprofit, a podcast, an event, whatever it might be, you know your property better than anyone else. So while you might be sending an email and maybe getting onto a phone call or a face-to-face meeting with a stranger, quote unquote, sponsor prospect, they do not know your property better than you do. And so you should have that confidence of it. And as our good friend Mark Sabarin says, the prize is your audience. Knowing that going in, they want to connect with your audience. So that should help overcome the natural fears. And then with repetitions, it will just get and become more natural.
So no sponsorship proposal, no problem. Know your
No, not at all.
audience, pick up the phone, send an email.
Some of the best deals, satisfying, rewarding deals, are ones where I just got on the phone with somebody and we figured it out. And I can share a perfect example of a new sponsor that we just got in, that you might say, why them? It's Dude Wipes. And they're out there now. They're one of those. And
so wait, you have it's a meat eating festival and you got Dude Wipes and you think our response is going to be why them? This sounds like like a match made in heaven.
But would you see their marketing?
Yeah.
I mean, their marketing is not your traditional marketing. I mean, they talk about your pants being down and, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they think that one of the elements that I pitched to them was hilarious. Yes, they wanted to do a rib eating contest, but we also have a sauce wrestling contest.
Oh, God.
A real ring full of barbecue sauce, people slopping around in it. There is no way a wipe will clean you totally, but they love the idea of you are so
awesome.
messy, and that the winner is going to hold up a belt and a package of dude wipes. Like it's one of those things that they'll take a photo of, and the content that it will deliver will be through the roof. And that's what they like, that shock factor, right? So I would have never known until I just reached out randomly, got in touch through LinkedIn, scheduled a call, got one of the marketing associates, and we just had a 45-minute phone call talking about things that they've done, what has worked for them, what are they looking to try to achieve.
Sponsorship package?
After the call, I put one together for them.
After the call, I put one together for them. Now, did they buy gold, silver, or bronze?
Oh, I don't know what that is, Chris.
We don't use gold, silver,
Because
bronze.
we don't do that. We customize. I want to make sure that the package meets their needs, because if it does, when you think about it, at the end of the sponsorship,
Yeah.
you're going to probably go back to them and you're going to want to show them that you were effective, that they would want to spend money with you again. So that call does two things for you, Chris. One, it establishes what their objectives are. And honestly, I regurgitate that when I put the proposal together. I start out with, here's what this proposal is going to do. Here are the objectives. And they're the items that they told me they want to achieve. And then I get into the strategy and the plan of it. The next phase of where that comes into play is post deal, when we're going back and I'm trying to show them deliverables.
Yeah.
If I delivered on all of those goals and objectives through some specific strategic actions, to me, that is a successful sponsorship. We achieved their goals. Doesn't mean we may not change and tweak them, move them forward.
Yeah.
But that's success.
So I see, he makes it sound so easy, doesn't he, folks? Makes it sound so easy. So hopefully you have lots of questions that are like, actually, no, he doesn't make it sound easy at all. How do you do this, 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 and this? And you're going to drop them in the chat because we can't wait to talk about them. But so here's what I heard. Kevin says prospecting is the most important thing. Don't have a proposal. It's irrelevant. You make the proposal after the meeting anyway. Know a bit about your audience so that when you send out a short email, you can introduce yourself and you want to have a conversation with them. And then when you have a conversation with them, you're not trying to hard sell them a gold package or a bronze package or try to convince them that you're the greatest thing since barbecue sauce. You want to learn about their marketing goals, what they're trying to achieve, who they're trying to get in front of, and then have fun and brains. Marketing people are creative. That's who you're talking to in sponsorship. You're talking to marketing people. They're great. It's fun to brainstorm with them. They want to get creative and think of new things. And it's great because you as the sponsorship salesperson get to be lazy and say, how would you like to engage with my audience? And you seem so attentive, is what they taught me in marriage counseling anyway. You ask lots of questions. It's so that they tell you exactly what they want and how to make them happy. And then you just do it. Amazing. So how do you figure out how much to charge them if you have not done evaluation? What's a hack? If you, like Kevin, I pulled all sponsorship valuation knowledge out of your brain. We've never met. You can't use our tool. How would you come up with a quick and dirty, like, I'm just going to charge X? Or is that an unfair question?
It's a little bit of an unfair question, but here's what I always try to do. The value is in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. So I try for one company, the identical type of package per se might be worth X to one, but Z to another, right? Somebody may think that's way overpriced for them. Yeah, maybe it is. But if there are others who are willing to pay it, it tells you that there is value. It's a matter of finding the right prospect, the right sponsor for that value. But what I always like to try to do is get an idea of what their appetite is for a potential package. Now, they're going to fight you and resist. Nobody wants to show their hand.
Of course.
So, you have to be, I would say, I try to take the non-whimsical, nonchalant type of approach. Like, it's not a big deal. I do the same thing on a lot of other aspects. Hey, don't worry about it. I'm not holding you to anything. And they're like, we really don't have a sponsorship budget. Oh, really? Okay, so
Should we
let's
do a
say
million?
everything that if I could come up with the ideal package for you, and I said it was $250,000, would you consider it? Oh, well, no, I mean, my entire budget's only whatever, right? Okay, so there's a limit. You know there's a limit. So then you start to play the game,
Yeah.
and I always just try to get it into a range.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do. Get it into a range so that you have an idea of it. Now, you should have, in your own opinion, and if you don't, that's where the valuation calculator is so valuable. It should give you confidence in what you potentially could charge. Because I think a lot of times you go in not with confidence and you're almost in that quote unquote beggar's mentality.
Yeah.
And you
You're at a
don't want to
disadvantage.
be in that. Yeah, you're at a disadvantage from there. But you should have an idea of what you think what you have to offer is worth. And if it's based off of marketplace or what other events along that are similar to yours charge or your similar properties, there's ways to kind of gauge that and get a good feel for it.
So if you're a current client of ours, Shabab, wave at the camera, look for the man waving. Just reach out to Shabab and say, I need a valuation stat. And we got you. Right. So remember the question to Kevin was, if you couldn't do best practice, like we literally pull that from you. Because I don't want anyone to walk away from this saying, I'm not going to do sponsorship because I don't have a valuation. If you're a client of ours and you don't have time to do valuation, go talk to sponsors, then come reach out to us and let's talk. We will help you come up with a fair price. So if we remove industry standard and best practice, it puts you at a disadvantage. Yes. But believe me, it's way more of a disadvantage to not talk to people right now. You got to talk to people right now. If we can help do some of that heavy lifting, great. That's what we're here for. That's why you hired us. And if you're thinking about hiring us, come on now, let's go. What are you waiting for? But if you still say, it doesn't matter these jokes that these two guys are cracking, you have not convinced me, go and negotiate in real time. And Kevin just gave you some really solid advice. And the keys there are, hey, Kevin, we talked about sampling, and I think that's great. We're going to get your product in people's hands. Super cool. I think this activation, there'll be a lot of fun for our audience. You mentioned that you think that it resonates with your audience. I'm just curious, from your perspective, having done these types of activations before, what do you think a fair value is for this? Now, Kevin's going to have to play his hand. He's going to have to tell me something, because I didn't say, what's your budget? I said, what do you think a fair price is for what we've been discussing here today? Nobody wants to be accused of being unfair.
So there are sponsors who will tell you, well, I could get this same type of package for this dollar figure at that. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Good. That doesn't necessarily mean, like, I just had a sponsor who was with us last year, $10,000. He said he went to another barbecue contest and paid 1/10 of it. And that's fine. I also know that same contest, while it's a very good contest, doesn't have the audience. And it just so happens to be in the hometown of Jack Daniels, and Jack Daniels pretty much underwrites everything. So they're just kind of doing it. These sponsorships aren't really that important to them. It's kind of like a little gravy, where we're really, and I will bet you, once he and I have a conversation, that the Jack Daniels did not incorporate him into the event like we did, where we had a lighting of the grill ceremony, where we brought a big grill up. We had the champion from the year before come use his torch product, turbocharged it, put a bunch of lighter fluid, and a big flame bursted up as part of the lighting of the grill opening ceremony. I love it. Bet you that Jack Daniels did not do that.
Yeah. Singed eyebrows everywhere. This is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So when I hear stuff like that, hey, I can get this cheaper up the road. I like to turn it around. That's great. Now, what would they have to do for it to be worth twice as much to you? All these things. Cool. What if I just did those things for you? Then would it be worth it? It's like, so they're trying to negotiate you down and you're trying to add more value. And so there's lots you can do without having a valuation. You should have one. You should have one, but not if it's going to stop you, in my opinion, not if it's going to stop you from going and speaking to sponsors today. Should you have a proposal, like a baseline template that you can draw from to make it easier to create custom packages? Yes. Should that stop you from reaching out? Heck no. It'd be great if you were comfortable making cold calls, but should that stop you from making them? Heck no. You're never going to make a cold call. And if you're comfortable with cold calls and you love it and it doesn't bother you, shoot me an email. We're hiring.
Chris,
those
I
people
will
are
say,
rare.
Chris, I will say this, as opposed to having a prepackaged proposal, what I would challenge everybody on this call to do, one of the things I always advise is create a laundry list of assets that you could potentially put together in a package for someone.
Nice.
Know what kind of inventory you have.
Know your ingredients.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then, as you get into that call, oh, I could pull this in from here. I'm pulling this in from here. And in some of these cases, these calls will create its own activation.
Yeah. And those are the best ones.
They're fun.
So Kevin's key to success: do your prospect research, outreach, email, LinkedIn. You saw some tools come through: Apollo.io, Hunter.io, plain old Google search. I use free LinkedIn. I'm happy to save my money and just use LinkedIn. It works well for me.
That's how I got Dude Wipes.
Yeah. Yeah. Great thing about people who work in marketing is they're really good at creating social media profiles and having a public image of public profiles. They're really easy to find on LinkedIn. And so I've always used LinkedIn. Well, not always. Since LinkedIn became a thing, I've always used LinkedIn. So do your prospect research, reach out to the marketing people, short, punchy, simple emails with the goal of having a conversation. In the conversation, ask them what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to accomplish, brainstorm with them, ask them about not what budget do you have available, but what do you think this would be worth? What kind of package should I put together? What range would you prefer I stay in? And when they push back and say, oh, we don't have a budget, Kevin's secret hack is amazing. So if I put like a $250,000 package in front of you, that would actually be on the table. Well, no. Okay. So obviously that amount isn't right, but how wrong is it? Is it wrong by 10,000 or is it wrong by 200,000? It's wrong by 200,000. Then you go and make a custom proposal just for them based on what they told you. And you ask them for the money. Do you send them the proposal, Kevin, or you jump on a call and walk through the proposal?
I like to walk through the proposal with them.
Yeah.
If you can do that, that's the ideal way. Because my proposals are not heavy word-wise. I like bullet points. I want short summary, bullet points to get it across, because they're going to flip and peruse. You're just trying to paint the picture, and then you can fill in pieces through the questions that they ask.
That's great. Then what happens if this happens before, let's say, Jan 1?
Then it'll vary probably depending upon the client. In some cases, on a really good case, you might get into negotiation. There might be a little tweaking of your proposal. They might ask, could you include social media or whatever the case may be? Or they might need to bring and want to share the proposal or bring in other parties to the conversation, which is never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing. Yeah, never a bad thing. So a number of years ago, my business partner, Brad Hoffman, and I decided we were going to run a conference, which I've since sold to him. So I don't run it anymore, but it was brand spanking new at one point. Brand new. What did we do? We used this point in the year, exactly this point in the year. We didn't have a venue. We hadn't sold a ticket, not a single ticket. We didn't even have an event website. We went and spoke to sponsors and said, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to make it a success. Dear sponsor, what would you want to do at the best conference you've ever been to? The sponsors told us everything they wanted. And what do we say? Well, shock of all shocks. That's exactly what we planned to do. Closed all of our sponsors, and then we found a venue that would allow us to do the things that they wanted to do. That would cater to the sponsors, and we built the event around it. That's the magic of this time of year. Try that in July. Ooh, it's going to be a long summer, but we did it at this time of year. So no, we didn't know. We had no idea how our event would look. We let the sponsors build it with us. That's how powerful it is this time of year. So you can be bold, you can be brazen. Only offer things that you know you can deliver on, I should say. Like, we didn't lie to our sponsors. We just really didn't have a plan. We were two guys with a great idea and the ability to pick up the phone and make cold calls. So Shabab's cooking up some questions. He sees some good ones coming in. I was going to ask Kevin, like, what are mistakes people make? And I think it's fair to say by doing the opposite of everything Kevin just shared. Waiting, trying to build the tools, trying to build the templates, trying to create a proposal. So I don't want to go down that path and miss the questions. Unless, Shabab, you're telling me these questions are atrocious. This is embarrassing. I cannot read any of these. So you pick a couple, and before you share, team, I just want, there are two specific shout outs for those who are our existing clients. If you find yourself in a position where you want to take advantage of this window and you don't feel ready yet, reach out to us. Get in touch with Shabab. Post it into the clients only discussion group. Let's come up with a plan to take advantage. If you are thinking about working with us, reach out to your contact and have an honest conversation with them about whether or not you can take advantage of this time of year, given the type of opportunity you have. So those are your two, but either camp should contact us. Let us know what templates you're looking for. We have tons of training, tons of templates. We want to help. It would give me a great deal of pleasure if in 3 months from now, you sent a whole bunch of emails talking about how this workshop made you $1 bazillion, give or take. Shabab, what questions in 9.5 minutes can Kevin answer?
We have some great questions for the both of you, and given that we're a bit short on time and we've been over 20, I'm going to choose the more popular ones.
Let's go.
Cool. So this was by Athenia Rodney. How do you find contact info to reach out to these sponsors? I have tried LinkedIn, but I have not found it to work.
LinkedIn.
I don't know. It depends on what you're doing on LinkedIn. The great thing about LinkedIn is you could type in the company and then go to people, and they will show you a laundry list of individuals. I often like to go to people who are in sales, marketing, and branding. Those are my go-to first out of the gate from that. The other thing is you could try, it depends on the size of the company. You can maybe go to a company website, but I think LinkedIn has a great wealth of knowledge. The other piece of advice I'd give you is follow that company. And then you start to see their posts roll up on LinkedIn, which is usually being done by marketing people. I see a quick question about Sales Navigator. I'm like Chris. I just use the free version.
Yeah. Save your money, as was it ING Direct said? Yeah. But go out for a nice dinner, like $1,000 worth of dinner, and use free LinkedIn. But unless LinkedIn's listening, in which case it's a fantastic product. So yeah, the free LinkedIn's amazing. And so, but Kevin's point is a good one, which is you tweak how you're using LinkedIn. Go to the companies you think are good sponsors, look at the people there and look for sales, marketing, and brand. Or you could just do a Google search and it will probably bring up their LinkedIn profile. But if you're certainly if you're talking to Fortune 1000 companies, there will probably be 200-300 people in marketing alone. So like the problem isn't finding them. The problem is which one do I speak to? So that's great. Shabab.
Amazing.
We're in
Thank
lightning
you
round.
for that. Yeah, absolutely. So the next one's by Barry Butler, and received 3 upvotes. He said, I'm interested in the difference in approach for one-time event sponsorships versus annual sponsorships for a charity or a service group.
Nice one. One time versus multi-year.
Yeah. So I always say this, whether you're trying to find a $500 sponsor, a $5,000 sponsor, a $50,000 or a $500,000 sponsor, the process is the same.
Yeah. And whether you're
No
a
matter what
charity,
your
a
property
podcast,
is,
a motorsport.
exactly. Even no matter what your property is, you may think you're unique and different, but the process that works to secure sponsors is the same.
Yeah. Good prospecting, good discovery, knowing your audience, customize everything. Then ask a really simple question. Hey, did you want to do this for 3 years or 5? Now you know what to put in your proposal. And if they say, oh, just 1 year. And now for those of you who are our advanced clients in the $1 Million Property, you know, we've got we have a magical approach, which is you can use discounts and you can use fast acting bonuses. There's some technical stuff there, but ultimately the question is, so do you want to do this for 3 years? No, just 1. Okay. That's really the difference. Now, I would say, though, there are some rules that are worth keeping in mind. If you're going to change the name of something, like name and word mark, so Memphis in May becomes the LinkedIn Memphis in May International Festival. If Kevin's going to change the name and put name and word mark, I think he'd be crazy to do any less than 5 years, right? Like there are some things where you're talking about the big sponsorships that are going to change the name of something. You're talking about a long-term branding play. But
Yes.
but yeah, I'm always asking the question, you want to do this for 3 or 5? Yeah.
Are we moving on to the next question?
Let's go.
Amazing.
Let's do 15 more questions in 4 minutes.
All right. This is by Cesar Romero, and he asked how to get in those budget conversations. How do you make sure your sponsorship assets are well priced to ensure profitability?
Well, I think we kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
You want to start. Yeah, you gotta start now. And if somebody says their budget cycle is already done, fine. You know what I do? I say, well, what does your budget cycle look like? Then I make a note of it. Then I reach out to them prior to their next budget cycle and remind them of the conversation we just had or the email exchange we just had. Hey, last October, you told me that the budget cycles for your company start in August. So here I am in June or July to be out in front of it.
Amazing. Thanks, Kevin. One more, and this is from Cheryl, and it's a broad one. How do you prospect?
How do you prospect?
How do you not prospect is probably a shorter answer.
He's going to philosophical.
And I have one of my favorite stories, and I'm going to have to just keep it really, really short. I actually was going to buy a TV at Best Buy around Christmas time. And at the Best Buy store was a young lady at a table with Comcast and Xfinity.
Yep.
I carried a conversation with her, which took me a while down the road from referral to referral to referral. She got me finally in touch with the appropriate people, and I got them as a sponsor while I was shopping for a Christmas gift.
Amazing.
There's a zillion ways to prospect.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even get into all of them, but be mindful of your surroundings. Pay attention as you're driving or listening or watching or going to an event, shopping in the mall, whatever it may be. Look to see who's spending money. Pay attention to the news. If somebody is rebranding or somebody's coming out with a new product, a new service, or a new company is coming into your marketplace, all of those are indicators that they probably have some marketing dollars set aside, at least on a short-term basis, if not a long-term basis.
I always be prospecting, always be opening. I was listening to the radio and I heard a local law firm. This is back in Ottawa, and I heard a law firm advertising on the radio station. That radio station markets they attract the same audience that we attracted for the sponsorship property. So I was listening to hear who was advertising there, because if they're spending money to get in front of my target audience, that means they're spending money to get in front of my target audience. So I'm listening to this terrible top 40 radio station. Awful. I hear the law firm advertising. So I pick up the phone, I give them a call, and guess what law firms always do? They always answer their phones. Hey, heard your ad. How's that working for you? Not that great. Well, what are you spending? About $30K a month. Why don't you take half and invest in our opportunity, and let me see if I can beat it and do better. This was with I actually worked for a charity at the time. They then became obviously a sponsor of ours. Then he joined our board of directors, introduced us to everyone in his network, and became a really good friend of mine personally. All from listening to horrible top 40 music. No offense if you like it, but I sure don't. And just making the cold call, right? So how did I prospect after that? By asking for referrals. And so the listening to advertising, listening to marketing, seeing where people are spending money, doing the research, what products are catering to your particular demographic, looking them up on LinkedIn, sending an outreach email, connecting first and then sending an email so you don't burn through your email credits. That's prospecting basics. Kevin, how many people would you say you reach out to in a year as part of your prospecting effort? And if that's a crazy number, then in a month?
Our database is about 1,100 contacts. I would say each year we are probably reaching out to at least half of those.
Kevin is reaching out to 600, 500 plus people in a year. This is with a well-established event, a well-established property. When I'm in prospecting mode, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails and phone calls over the course of a quarter. So when we talk about prospecting, we're not talking about, I called Amazon because they're rich and asked them for money and all I got was customer service. Oh no. I called every company in the entire world 16 times. That's you want to be, if prospecting is a spectrum from one call to Amazon and calling every company 16 times, you want to be closer to the extreme end of that. Prospecting is a Olympic level sport. It's intense. Yeah, it's intense, which I'm sure is the good news you were hoping to hear today.
Well, I had a mentor who once told me, whether it's fundraising, sponsorships, if you're going to hunt buffalo, you better go where the buffalo are.
Yeah. You're going to have a lot better luck if you fish where the fish are.
Yep.
Oof.
And, Chris, I see on here how the LinkedIn conversation and reaching out, and do you message them through LinkedIn and all that? And I think that's very good. And truthfully, it's going to be a combination of lots, because what works for one company or individual may not work for the next. But as a general rule, I like to use LinkedIn for research and to make a connection. Then I try to get and move the conversation through their professional work email, because I feel they're more likely to check that on a regular basis than maybe their LinkedIn direct messages. But the value of LinkedIn from a research connection, finding the right people, is really important. And then try to do your outreach that way. And don't underestimate. I can't tell you how many members, Chris, of ours say, oh my gosh, I needed to pick up the phone. And then people think in today's world, the phone doesn't exist,
Mm,
it's still a part of the process.
yeah, 100%.
I'm not trying to minimize doing emails,
You
but
email to
you need
warm
to
up the
have a
call.
mix. You have to do a mix. It's like
Yeah.
that multimedia campaign, right?
Yeah.
The same is true in prospecting. You have to go at it from lots of different angles and approaches with a consistent message.
Amazing. So, Kevin, that was amazing, as always. You are 7 minutes away from jumping in with our clients to coach them through all of their sales problems. So we'll give you exactly 4 minutes to refresh and prepare and maybe have a stiff drink.
No.
Current clients, reach out to Shabab, Vanessa. Team @ is dropped in the chat. Future clients, you know where to find us. Lendl, Jill, Cade, Ty. They're here to help and serve. So let us know how we can help you. I appreciate you all hanging out. This is recorded. It will be sent out to everyone. I think we did it.
Yeah. And good luck, everyone. Nobody
Yeah.
said it's easy, but it can be done.
Yeah.
And you have to just try, dive in, and believe.
Yeah, that's so good. You've picked the hardest job in the world. So just embrace it and enjoy the ride. Amazing. All right, team. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.